The Phantom returns. The film opens with John Matrix, the Commando protagonist from the first film, now living off the grid in a remote Alaskan cabin, haunted by nightmares of his past missions. He receives a coded message from Major Sarah Keene, his former commander, warning that Operation Black Vortex, a classified cyber weapon, has been stolen by an unknown force. The Black Vortex breach. At a NATO cybersecurity center in Berlin, masked mercenaries infiltrate and download encrypted data from a quantum computer. The Black Vortex, capable of shutting down entire defense grids. The attackers leave no trace except a signature. A serpent insignia known from a private military company called Shadow Axis. The call to arms. Sarah Keene contacts John through a clandestine military channel. She tells him Shadow Axis is led by Colonel Viktor Orlov, a rogue Russian officer John once saved in Afghanistan. John initially refuses to return, but when he learns that Sarah's team was ambushed and she's missing, he gears up once more. The Commando is back. The Ghost Team. John travels to London, where he meets Mason Trent, a sarcastic MI6 hacker, and Lena Alvarez, a Colombian combat pilot and ex-CIA operative. Together, they form a covert strike unit codenamed Ghost Team. Their mission: track Shadow Axis through black market arms channels before the Black Vortex is activated. Blood Trail in Casablanca. The first lead takes them to Casablanca, where an illegal weapons auction is underway. John infiltrates, disguised as a buyer, while Mason hacks the bidding system. A brutal hand-to-hand fight breaks out when Shadow Axis agents recognize him. John retrieves partial intel pointing to Dubai, where Orlov second-in-command is hiding. The Dubai extraction. In a breathtaking rooftop sequence across the Dubai skyline, John and Lena ambush a Shadow Axis convoy. Explosive chases through highways and skyscraper helipads follow. They capture Rashid Karim, a weapons broker, who reveals that the Black Vortex data is being sold to the highest bidder at a secret Arctic base. Betrayal in the shadows. As they regroup, Mason decrypts a file revealing a horrifying truth. Sarah Keene is alive, but working with Orlov. John refuses to believe it until he sees surveillance footage showing her overseeing a Shadow Axis training camp. His trust and mission begin to fracture. The Arctic mission. The Ghost Team commandeers a stealth submarine from the Norwegian Navy and heads toward the Svalbard archipelago, where Shadow Axis's base lies beneath the ice. Along the way, John recalls his war past with Orlov and Keene, realizing this mission is more personal than political. Icebreaker assault. In a visually stunning nighttime raid, John leads the Ghost Team onto the frozen fortress. They use snow drones, silenced rifles, and magnetic charges to breach defenses. However, a massive ambush decimates their squad, leaving only John and Lena alive, face to face. John finally confronts Sarah. She explains she joined Orlov to expose NATO's own corruption, claiming Black Vortex was designed not for defense, but for global surveillance control. John hesitates, torn between truth and loyalty, when Orlov appears, mocking him as a pawn of broken systems. Prison of ice. Captured and tortured, John is locked in a cryogenic chamber used for deep interrogation. Lena escapes and rescues him, narrowly avoiding hypothermia. They discover the Black Vortex's true form, a satellite uplink device capable of triggering nuclear defense system overrides worldwide. The countdown begins. Shadow Axis initiates the upload sequence to launch Black Vortex. Mason, presumed dead, reappears via satellite link, guiding John and Lena to the control hub beneath the ice. The clock ticks, 20 minutes until Black Vortex goes online. The fire beneath the ice. John and Lena plant C4 charges through icy tunnels filled with drones and guards. Explosive shootouts ensue, blending stealth with brutal melee combat. The base begins to collapse as alarms blare and the ice cracks beneath them. Orlov's last stand. Orlov confronts John in the control core, wearing exo-armor enhanced for strength. Their final fight is brutal and raw. Fists, fire, and fury amidst collapsing steel. John disables the armor using a plasma cutter and impales Orloff on the satellite antenna. Sarah's redemption. Sarah reappears, holding the detonator. She admits she wanted to destroy both sides, the corrupt system and Orloff's insanity. Mortally wounded, she hands John the detonator and tells him, "End this for all of us." She sacrifices herself to hold off reinforcements. The Great Collapse. John and Lena race toward the surface as the Arctic base detonates beneath them. Massive explosions trigger a glacier break, causing the sea to engulf the structure. A helicopter extraction barely saves them as the entire ice shelf collapses in a cinematic spectacle. Fallout. Back at a NATO base, Mason decrypts the surviving data, revealing that multiple governments were secretly bidding for Black Vortex. John delivers the files to an independent tribunal, exposing the corruption Sarah spoke of. A world on edge. News reports flood in. NATO denies involvement. Shadow Axis remnants vanish, and whispers of a second Black Vortex prototype spread. John realizes the war in the shadows has only begun. The silent departure. Haunted yet resolute, John visits Sarah's grave, placing her dog tags beside his. He tells Lena, "Commandos never retire. We just fade into the dark." He walks away as helicopters fly overhead, his silhouette disappearing into the dawn. Post-credits scene, the next threat. In a dimly lit Moscow bunker, a hooded figure watches satellite footage of John's escape. On the table lies a device identical to Black Vortex, but with new code, Project Leviathan, online in 6 months. Cut to black. The saga continues.